Good morning to you.
Very good morning to you.
So, I mean, I was reading, funnily enough, a piece in The Sun today which said that you wouldn't need that many members of the government to defect for the vote to sort of go the other way, as it were, in terms of how they felt. But I mean, generally speaking, a lot of common sense was talked. A lot of people said it was one of the more, shall we say, refreshing days to watch Parliament. You know, there wasn't too much sniping from either side. It was actually quite considered.
It was, I mean, I sat through the whole debate. It was incredible. It was an example of how politics can be put aside and thoughtful debate actually happened. There were some incredibly powerful stories on both sides of the debate. People talking about very personal experiences of their constituents. And a lot of people saying that they were saying yes at this stage, but they wanted to see more detail when it came through to the committee stage, which is the next one where they'll go through the bill line by line. So, of course, yes, Friday could have been the end of it for us, but it's going forward to the next stage, which doesn't at all mean that it's going through. So there's a lot more work to be done. We were all standing and hugging afterwards and couldn't quite believe it. And everyone was saying, "Oh, yay, now we can rest." It's like, nope, still so much to do, so much work to do, so many people to convince that actually this is the safest bill that has been put forward on this subject in the world ever. And it really makes sense for our country to go for it now.
And that makes absolutely every more reason why it should be, you know, given plenty more time to be considered, shouldn't it? Because a lot of people were worried that it would seem to be being rushed through Parliament in some haste, but it doesn't sound like that's happening. And so therefore, if there is time to consider parts of it or to maybe even tweak it a little bit, that's a good thing, isn't it?
Yes, it's interesting because people keep saying it's being rushed through, and the fact is that this bill is just the latest bill in a 25-year campaign. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but I think 25 years is quite a long time. I wouldn't say that was rushing. But this bill, of course, is going to be gone through line by line. As I say, at the committee stage, everybody will have a say. Everybody will be able to ask a question. All the experts and independent advisors will be able to be asked. There can be many more village halls around the country. But what I would say is the majority of the population has always been in favour of it, particularly now. The highest number of majority in every constituency that was polled were in favour of some form of assisted dying, and this couldn't be a more safeguarded, compassionate law. Its cornerstone is safeguarding. It's looking for the right reason to want an assisted death. It's looking to protect against coercion. It's looking to create a law now where the vulnerable are protected when they're not protected at the moment.
And one of the things that came out over the weekend, Pat McFadden from the government said that it might be the case that if you require assisted dying, you may have to pay for it yourself because the NHS, by the looks of things, won't be able to afford to do it.
Well, that's one point of view. I mean, I think that's all going to be gone through in greater detail and with greater expertise than I could possibly give you this morning. But what I did hear was so many. I was surprised by how many MPs are actually doctors. It was a really interesting collaboration of process and thought. And so many of them said that this could just be another tool in the palliative care spectrum of tools. It's another way to help people. And what Dr. Prinsley of Bedford, I think he is, he said, this is not life or death, this is death or death. And that is so true. This is people that are already dying, getting the help that they need at the end when nothing works. I was sat next to an incredible woman called Sophie who has stage 4 terminal breast cancer. She's allergic to opioids. She's allergic to things like morphine. There is nothing that can help her with the pain at the end other than assisted death. So what are we supposed to do in those situations? Around the world where it works as another tool in the palliative care scale of things. That's what we're hoping it will do. It will improve palliative care. It will bring a focus on palliative care and hospice care, and hopefully the funding will come from within the NHS because it's just another tool in its arsenal of tools.
It is, but of course we know the NHS is already running out of money. Even though the more money you put in, the more quickly it seems to spend it. But so they'd have to find, I suppose, something that they'd have to not do in order to do this.
I couldn't possibly comment on what they wouldn't do, but what I would say is that at the moment, the people that can afford it are paying for it now. I mean, £15,000 and you can take yourself off to Dignitas. Yeah. Who can afford that? I certainly couldn't. My mum is very lucky that she can afford that, and that is her plan, because obviously with the best will in the world, nothing like this is going to come in to affect our family. But I would say that this could be funded. I've spoken to so many independent legal teams, NHS teams, who really think that this could be funded, that this could work. There are currently multidisciplinary clinician panels that work on coercion thoughts and volunteering for voluntary donors. So if you're a living donor, so that's something like tissue and kidney and livers that you can do while you're still alive, they run panels to make sure that those aren't done under coercion. So it just needs an adaptation of what is already there. It's not necessarily going to cost loads of money.
Sure. Good to talk to you, Rebecca Wilcox. Thanks very much indeed. Daughter of Dame Esther Rantzen, of course.